In this video, I'm going to go over the notion of partial take profits and when and how to use them. But before we get into it, make sure to subscribe, give this video a like, and add me on Instagram to keep up to date with what I do on a day-to-day basis. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So before we go into some technical examples of how to use a partial take profit, what do we mean by a partial take profit? So a partial take profit is a take profit that we set where we take off a percentage of the position that we have running on a trade. So this tends to be around 50% to around 10% generally. Partial take profits can be a great way to ensure that you as a trader are paid for every position that you take. And it is important to state that if you have a trading plan, which you should as a professional trader or someone that wants to be a professional trader, then you should have a go-to risk to reward ratio that you look for in every trade. For example, mine is a 1:5. And that means that when it comes to me taking trades, I look sometimes to take a partial take profit at 1:3. Now this can obviously change depending on the price action, as I will go through in an example. So when do we take partial take profits? So we generally want to take partial take profits when something is not right about the price action or the trade idea we're in. Not every trade is going to be a perfect setup where it goes from your entry to your take profit. So we have to understand that sometimes the market isn't going to do that. And we want to ensure that from the position that we've taken and the time we have invested into taking this trade setup, that we get paid as traders. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do, to get paid. So what we will be looking for is, in a trade, if there is anything that we don't like or potential areas where price can reverse from against our trade idea direction, we will look to take partial take profits around those areas. So let's go into an example straight away. So let's have a look at this trade over here. So let's say we get into this trade and we want price to come and target this Asian session low. So that is the target for this trade generally. Okay. And what happens is we can see that as price is moving to the downside, what we have is we have this demand zone over here. So a possible demand zone where price can react from. And we can see that price comes down. So what we'd want to do is we'd want to take a 1-3 partial over here if we were worried enough to think that price could possibly reverse from here. Now obviously this depends on structure as well and where price is trending. So you have to take this into consideration. And so a 1-3 partial can be taken here. In this case, we can see price smashes through this area and then comes back up and then rejects it and then continues back down. Now over here on the 15-minute time frame, what can we see? We have another demand zone. Obviously this one's a lot bigger and we can see we had an accumulation at this point before price rallied to the upside. So price could come back, mitigate this order block, tap into this demand zone and then move to the upside. So we could take a 1-5 partial at this point as well. And it's just about being safe in the market and making sure that you as a trader gets paid. Now this example goes over a trade that continued to full take profit, which is a good thing, and you would have made less using partials, but it gives you the peace of mind and makes sure and guarantees you get paid from a trade idea. So let's now go over an example where partials actually benefited us. So taking this position, what we'd be looking for is we'd want price to continue up to the Asian session high. Obviously we can see that at this point this doesn't happen, and we can also see we have a supply area over here. So this is something that we would be very cautious about when we're entering this position. So what can we do? So we can put a partial within this area. What I'll do is I'm going to mark this out. So we can take a 1-3 partial at this point and ensure that we get paid, because price can easily reject it. If we look over here, we made a lower low, breaking this low here, and price pushed up as well. So we could come, react to this supply zone and then continue to the downside. And by taking partials at this order block over here, we are ensuring that we are paid. And if price does continue up to Asian high, then at least we guaranteed some profit and we were happy with whatever happened to the position, regardless if it hits take profit or if it takes you out at break even or even hits your stop loss. Now, if I play this one out a little bit, let's see what happens. So we can see the price action is not really what we want it to be. Now you could take further partials at this point. What we see next is we tap into here, price pulls up, it should continue to the upside, it doesn't, and then eventually I think it comes and would have hit your stop loss if you went at break even, although I reckon you should have been at break even at this point anyway. And as we can see in this case, using partial take profits has helped us to book a profit, a very good profit, let's be honest, at a 1-3 before price pulls to the downside. Now that we have gone over two examples, one example of where partials has guaranteed us a profit where price continued in the direction anyway, another example of where the partials booked us a very good profit and price did not continue in the direction that we wanted it to. How much should you take off in terms of a partial take profit? So a position size or normal position that you trade would be 100%, will be equal to 100%. And so in my personal trading plan, if price shows me that it's not moving correctly, or if there is an abnormality to the way it's moving or structural changes within the trade once I've entered the trade compared to before I entered the trade, then what I would be looking for is to take off a certain percentage at a 1-3 partial and let the rest run to a 1-5. Now, how much do I personally take off? I would take off around 60 to 70% at a 1 to 3 and let the rest run to a 1 to 5. Now the reason I do that is because I want to make sure I'm always paid for positions I take. Now obviously this I don't do this all the time. A 1 to 5 is something I do look to aim for near enough day in and day out. But sometimes when price action is not moving how you want it to, you have to take precaution and take profits and pay yourself. So how much should you take off the table? Now that's completely up to you. I recommend backtest your strategy and see what percentage makes sense for you to take off using a partial take profit. So I hope this video has helped you in understanding what partial take profits are and how you can use them to guarantee profit from a position. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, add me on Instagram, and I will see you in the next video.